Welcome back everyone. In this lesson we are going to talk about assertions and more specifically about Playwright assertions because Playwright comes with its own web-first assertions. This means that it has bundled in the Playwright package some assertions that will automatically wait and retry until an expected condition is met. The way this works is you use something like assert that, which is very similar to how you would use assertions in JUnit, with the difference that this time it will check multiple times until a timeout will expire that the specific condition that we are checking for is actually met. By default the timeout is 5 seconds, but you have a way of overriding that and increasing the timeout or decreasing it as needed. Now, there are a lot of checks that you can make. For example, if the button is disabled, editable, or the locator is the element identified by the locator. So if we scroll down, you can see everything that is available. We are going to try a few of them. You can also negate. So for example, over here, you can check that a specific element does not contain the text error. Okay? So the way we are going to do this is by using the Best Buy application and using the last test that we've written where we have this sign up test. So if you remember here, what we do is navigate to account, create account, and then fill in this form over here. And that's about all. Okay. So let's run our test until that point and see what assertions we can make after everything is inputted by our test. So I'm going to debug the test and let's see what happens. If I remember correctly, we have like a client-side validation for the password, so we can check for that one. Let's see. So we have this. So I would like to check that we actually have this. Okay, let's inspect it and see how we can identify it. So this is inside the span. Okay. Okay, I guess I can use the these classes over here. Okay. Let's say so again I'm going to use CSS selectors. Okay, this works fine. Yeah. Okay. So going back to my test, after the entire form, or actually after the passwords are filled in, I can have an assertion over here. So I will say assert that. Let's see if we can find the, okay, import static method from Playwright assertions. This is perfect. And then we need to specify the locator. Let's go back to the documentation. So page locator, selector, and then what you are checking for. Okay. So the selector will be the one that we just written. Forgot to say page.locator. Then we are going to check that it contains a text. This will do fine for us. And the text was, let's grab it from here. It's, your passwords match. Okay, perfect. Let's try to do another assertion. Going back to the page, let's use this one that the test that it's in debug mode right now. I might want to check if this button is enabled, but I believe it's always enabled. But we are going to check for it regardless. So let's grab an ID or something. Let's see what it has. So a button. It has no ID, but I can use a class from here, like this one. Let's see if we can identify it just with this one. So I'm going to say button dot. Okay, so it's only one element. This should work fine. And I'm going to do an assertion over here. Insert that page locator is enabled. Perfect. And let's stop this debug session and try to run our test to see if everything works. And after this, I'm going to show you guys how to expand the timeout. So it just that was fast. Okay, seems everything is fine. Let's try this time to fabricate an error. So let's add some more characters over here, and this assertion will fail. Okay. Okay. Filling in the form. Okay, and it has failed. Locator expected to contain text, your passwords match, but it had a different text. Okay, so you can see that they actually work. Now, I mentioned that for each type of assertion, you have the ability to increase the timeout. And the way you can do this locally, I mean for this specific action, if we go inside the function, the method that is called, we can see that it has multiple implementations, and one of them actually has two implementations, and one of the second one, you can pass this contains text option. So I can pass an additional argument over here. Let's put this on a new line. Actually, let's put this entire row on a new line. And we can say over here, new, and we can set the timeout. You can see we have also an ignore case, and these options, they vary depending on what type of check you make. For a contains text options, we have ignore case and timeout, and I'm going to set the timeout. This is in seconds. It's a double, so I expect this is in milliseconds. Okay, so I'm going to do, instead of 5 seconds, I will say 40 seconds. So these are milliseconds. Okay, so what should happen now? We still have a wrong expected message over here, so this will fail again, but this time it will wait 40 seconds until it will decide to show us this assertion failed error. Let's debug the test again. Okay, So what we should see now after uh, we, we fill in all the fields is that we will stay here for 40 seconds while our assertion will try to check if anything changes with this. And after 40 seconds, this should fail. Hopefully, if those were milliseconds, yeah, they were milliseconds. Yeah, perfect, perfect. So let's say that you have a case where it takes longer for your specific condition to occur and you need to wait more than 5 seconds. You can pass a locator assertion object to your method that we are checking with, and you can increase the timeout. So let's check for is enabled. So I'm going to go to the implementation, and is enabled has is enabled options. Let's check this out. So for this I can only set the timeout, okay? But you should have the set timeout for absolutely all the checks that are made on an assert. Okay, so this is all for this lesson.